the pace of the world dictates that there's an expectation from certain consumers now that what you launch or how you activate is relevant to the here and now, probably a lot more so than maybe 5 years ago. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't still plan campaigns, build a story and a message over time. But if you're in that really competitive and noisy market space and you're the scrappy little dog going up against big beer and you're trying to sweat every pound of investment, being agile is likely going to get you the greater cut through. And if reaching awareness of your main objectives, if you just want people to know about you, then, looking at social media interaction between brands and consumers or brands and how agile and responsive it is and just what reach you get, you can just see how agility is kind of one of the main things that you need to have in terms of that content space. And then you look at Barnard Castle eye test, it was, it went from idea to visual to product to Good Morning Britain all in the space of around 48 hours. At a cost of zero pence in terms of PR, and we sold 680,000 cans. So, that was just, let's throw out something that's relevant, relevant to now, is topical, is very BrewDog. The response was to the point of, I think because we're in, middle of a lockdown and lots of people were absorbing content, the response was just off the charts. Okay, we better brew that beer. While we're working out how we brew that beer and get it out there and make it for sale, we've got Good Morning Britain wanting to talk about it on the news the next day. So, and then 4 weeks later, Keir Starmer's in BrewDog Tower Hill drinking a pint of it. So it just shows you that that real-time content is the stuff that can grab the quick headlines and get the PR really turn into overdrive. And BrewDog have managed that kind of better than most in certain aspects, which is great.
Real power in being able to kind of capitalize on those moments, isn't there?
Absolutely. We just, and the thing with BrewDog is, they don't all work. You might throw out 10, 15 real-time content, really quick ideas or PR stories, but you only need a couple of them to land properly, and that's what makes the difference.
When it comes to that kind of that change in pace that we're all trying to keep up with, obviously that comes with its challenges. Marcella, can I just ask you? Obviously, work very closely with this wide-ranging selection of brands. How's the way that, and you sort of said, it's evolving and it's changing. How's the way you work with brands evolved? And how, are you seeing these new operating models emerging out of this kind of fast change?
Yeah, I think shifting, as we focus more working with brands directly and away from their initial relationships with traditional agencies. I think it's an evolving model right now for brands. I think brands are still trying to figure out how to reach their audience. I think the pandemic has been interesting because it was a way to almost have a captured audience where people were home and being able to deliver enormous amounts of content. But what we're finding is that some of the smarter brands that we're working with are realizing that even in the real-time content, it's not the only solution for them. Even listening to BrewDog, it was really interesting because it really hit home for me, where we work with brands where it's an enormous amount of real-time content that's being delivered, but only a few pieces may be the thing that really resonates. And then what we take with some of that is we start to develop some of the other plans around what other content we're going to deliver for those brands, going into longer formats or different kind of branded entertainment into delivering messaging for themselves. We find that the most effective brands are the ones that realize it's not just one solution. Everyone tends to jump on the data and analytics on one thing in specific, but it's such a wide range. So what you said at BrewDog really resonated with us. Thank you.
Yeah. It's funny. I always see this sometimes. If you watch little under sixes play football or soccer, they all start running after the ball, and they're all trying to grab the ball. But the reality is that it needs strategic planning in order to be able to start scoring the goal. So I know what you mean. There's room for both, but there is that pull, isn't there, to just run behind the most thing that everyone's talking about. That's why I think it's quite hard sometimes to understand or navigate it, because it seems to just overpower everything.
Yeah, you need a wide view. You can't just be one thing specifically. So